Good morning, it's Friday the 3rd of February 2023. First video for quite some time, in fact I think it's first video this year. I've been really struggling with the virus, this flu virus that's been sweeping, well not only our country but all the world I think. I've had this thing now for over a month and I'm still trying to get rid of the damn thing. But I've still been doing things whilst I've been struggling with this damn thing. One of the things I did get was the new version of line Rampant, the second edition here. I'll not do a flip through or etc. But there's loads of them on the internet if you want to see one. But I wanted to get it just to see how it compared to version 1 which I own. And the rules haven't changed greatly. There are some additions or optional rules that you can bring in, and one or two other little odds and ends that is incorporated, which you can choose to use or not use. Totally up to you. They have changed the names of some of the things. Like now, you no longer build a retinue; it's a warband. Because the second edition is sort of dipping a bit further back in time than what the original line Rampant did. So we're talking about dark ages as well, with the Vikings and Saxons, etc. So they're now called warbands, and some of the names of units is different. For instance, where before you got dismounted men at arms, which were basically knights on foot. Now they're known as elite infantry, and one or two of the minor changes. So to make it more generic for war bands for other periods, and that's perfectly fine. Getting this has prompted me to get back to a project that I haven't touched in over 5 years, and that's Crusaders, early Crusades. I do have a Saracen army painted up, the army of Saladin, and they've been sat in a drawer all that time, 5 years or more, waiting for some bugger to turn up to fight. And now I've finally made a start on it, but I'll show you more of that a bit later in the video. I've got a couple of projects running, and we'll get to them in a moment. Right, first one I've got going is these are ships for Twilight Imperium, the board game. I have this is the grey fleet. Originally they were black. Wasn't the light here, but I've redone them in grey because I just couldn't see anything in black. This is the underside. I've still got to turn them over and paint the other side. This is the dry brush stage. They've already had primer, etc. They've had all that on. This is the second fleet of 8. These aren't too far away from completion now. Then they can be bagged up, ready to go. The next fleet I'm going to paint up is this candy orange fleet. I mean, that colour is just horrendous. So that's going to be, it'll still be orange when I finish, or they'll have a tint of orange in it. But I'll get rid of this toy bubblegum horrible orange colour. So they'll be the next ones who'll be getting treatment on this project. And this one, it runs side by side with the other one, the line Rampant project. But with these, with having to paint one side and then I have to turn them over, so you've got like, well, I like to wait 24 hours before I turn them over. So you know, and when you're talking about primer, then the base coat, and then highlighting, and then dry brushing, you're talking turning over and back about 8, 9, 10 times. So it takes some time just to do one fleet. Plus, there's a fair few ships in this fleet. So that runs alongside the other project, which is the line Rampant. once these are sat drying, I can concentrate on lying rampant and then I go back again. I like to move back and forth, but I only want 2 projects on the go at any one time, because I found that I just get overwhelmed. And it's same as I only need to do a certain number of figures. This is far too many. I don't like painting all this all at once, but fortunately there's no real fine detail work in here, not until I come to the end and start painting in some panels and things. Right, I'll leave it there again and I'll be back to you shortly. Right, here we've got part of a warband for the Crusaders. This is going to be a 12-man light infantry unit. The 6 at the front, who've got base colours on, they've been sat like that for 5 years, ever since I bought the sets. Those at the back, I've removed them from the sprue, and they're going to be built. I'm going to select the arms and weapons and heads, etc. Bring them up to the same level as the 6 guys at the front, and then finish them all off to give me a unit of light infantry for lying rampant. I am using, these are Conquest Games Norman infantry. Now these boxes were cheap. I think when I bought them back then, I think I paid £15 per box. They were on offer, and I bought 2 boxes of infantry, 2 of mounted knights and 1 of archers. So there's plenty enough to make retinues, because for a retinue it's warband now, but you know what I mean, retinue warband. It's roughly about 60 figures. Takes you up to your limit. Now the Conquest Games ones, they're cheap and cheerful, but the problem is, if you look at this sprue here, you get an unarmoured, you get 1 in like a quilted jacket, 1 with nail, and 2 more unarmoured. So you've only got 1 guy in nail on each sprue. There is a couple of command sprues where you get a couple more, but it's, you know, it's not enough. I want my knights to be in nail, not... It's fine for, you know, peasant troops or light infantry, but you know, it's just not good enough. And also, I'm not keen on the way the arms are moulded onto the back of the shields. It limits what you can do, and also with the figures, I can get one up. I don't like the way the arms join on just below the shoulders there, because you can only put certain arms with certain figures, so you're limited to what you can do. And also, every figure has a sword moulded onto the body. So if you want to give one a sword in his hand, you've either got to try and cut off the handle, the hilt of that sword, or try and disguise it somewhere. Well, I'm not going to try and cut them off. I'm not going to damage the figure. So I'm just painting over them if they've got a hand, you know, if they've got a sword in their hand. So that's, you know, it's one of them little things, but, you know, they were cheap sets. So, and things have moved on a lot since then. So they're going to be painted up. I'm still going to use them because they're good enough to do my Crusader army to match the Saracens. But what I did do, because I've got another project in mind for later, is I bought one of these sets, the Victrix Norman infantry. Now this one just got 30 figures. It's like a tester kit, if you like. And I have made up, if I can find them, should have had room ready, shouldn't I? I did make up half a dozen figures just to see what they look like. And to be honest, they're far superior, as you would expect from Victrix. They're all armoured, and of course they haven't got moulded on swords. Put them there next thing. Much better figures. They're all in mail. This guy's got a mace. Love these figures. Now these, the plan for them is to, excuse me, is to do a type of Baron's War, but not the Baron's War with Simon de Montfort, something a bit earlier, around about the 1100s, with feuding knights and barons, is what I have in mind. So these figures will be used for that. So I've got 30 in that bag, and I'll have some infantry left over from the Conquest game, so there should be enough basically for a 60-man warband for my version of the Baron's War, or some sort of Baron's War skirmish. So, but I may end up buying some more of these Victrix because they are just so much superior. But we shall see. So this project is running alongside the spaceships for Twilight Imperium. Now I didn't have any scenery in 28mm for the Crusades, so I'll come to that next. Right, so for the desert map, which I already have, I managed to get hold of this battlefield in a box on that well-known auction site. It was box was faded. I think it was ex-stock in a shop. They've not sold it, so they sold it off at about 2/3 price what it should have been. But it's in perfect order. As you can see, it looks okay. And if I turn it over, you get a couple of large palm trees, 2 mediums. You get the oasis with the water. It's all pre-painted, and you also get some little packets of static grass, you know, to decorate if you should so wish to. So I'll have an oasis, a watering hole for the troops, and this will also double up for Flames of War, North Africa, which is another project, but I'll talk about that another time. So yeah, so that's the first piece. Now, I was thinking, obviously I need some buildings, and there was a chap on eBay. He's got a shop and he makes the terrain himself. It's all MDF, and there was 30 buildings. No, let me get this right. There were 10 buildings for £30, which works out at £3 a piece, and it was free postage. So I thought, oh, yeah, I'll give that a go. I've not done MDF before, but we'll give it a go. Well, when they arrived, 3 packets. There's one. Now, as you can see, there's obviously all the walls and things there, and there's, I presume these sort of fixing pieces. But it's like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? I don't know how many buildings are in here. I'm assuming there's 3 buildings in here. They look alright, and the smell, I mean the bag's still sealed, but that, can I smell that scorched MDF? So that's going to be fun, putting them together. But fortunately, the guy on his website, his homepage, he does have photographs of all the buildings built, and next to it, all the constituent parts you need to actually build them. So it's simply a case of switching my iPad on and having a look at a particular building, working out what goes with what, and then building them, because it's going to be PVA glue, and then we'll see how we get on about painting and everything. But that's the first parcel. Then the back parcel number 2. This one's got, you can see there's hatches here, doors, again all the walls, the floors. Some of these buildings are 2-storey as well. It's not just 1-storey. So again, another jigsaw puzzle. So they can stay together. And finally is this baby. And this is huge. I mean, it's just absolutely crammed full of MDF in all shapes and sizes, and goodness knows what else. But so we're talking a one hell of a jigsaw puzzle here. But, I mean, I'm a long way off from finishing off my Crusaders, so I can take my time with this, but yeah, this is going to be a sit down and have to think about job this. So, I'll get them out of the way. And the last thing I'll show you is, because I didn't show you them before, was here's the Crusader. I've got one unit painted up. You'll have to excuse the hand painted shields. It's the best I can do. My eyes and that and shaking hands can't do a great job anymore like they used to be. Well, never could do a really great job. And just to show the arrows have got some elite spearmen as well, I'll put them down. These have been painted, of course, 6 years or more, but you can see how it's going. So, pick one up. These are the Conquest Games Knight. You can see the shield's not brilliant. I've used armoured ones because these are elite infantry, so I've used virtually all the armoured ones I could find. They're alright, they'll do. They'll do the job. So there's a unit of elite infantry. Got one guy there with he's carrying a two-handed axe. So he's got his shield on his back. And they're going to be coming up against these boys. This is an elite infantry Saracens. These are of course already done. What I did have to do though, I had to take off, because I'd flocked them in green flock. Now this guy's the leader, and I know he's a leader because I put a tuft of grass or scrub there on his base, so he'll be the leader of this elite unit. And I've repainted the bases with textured paints, and then in colour similar to my desert battle mat. So we have got 2 units so far. Well, the Saracens, their full army's done. I just got to scrape all the bases and turn it into desert as opposed to green, lush terrain, which I should never have done in the first place. And then, of course, the units for the Crusaders. So that's going to be the 2 projects that run together, and that's going to take me some while, along with these buildings. But eventually, we'll get there. It's not a race, and I'm not in any particular rush. So that's what I've been doing. I thought I'd better post something, because you'll think I've run away or something, or snuffed it or something. But no, I'm still here, and I'm still doing stuff. And hopefully I'll post something when it's something worth seeing. I'm not going to post regular posts about how painting's going out. When I get a few units done, I'll come back and we'll have a look. So thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again on the next one. Bye for now.